Okay, and the battle continues between these two very popular guns. Now we're going to talk about number one thing is if I had to take this gun, this is empty, both these guns empty, I had to store this gun. Let's say I shoved it up underneath the seat of my truck and I kept it there for a whole year. And I used that truck for on the farm. I did some fishing, some hunting. I didn't pull this gun out at all. Truck got rained in a couple times, left the window down, jumped in the truck with muddy boots on, and used it for all kinds of work, threw some tools around. Floorboard got mud, got water, and the gun got damp. It got hot. It got cold through the year. A little bit of dust collected up on it. And I'm expecting this stainless steel gun to be in good shape. And at the end of a year, I pull this beautiful Smith and Wesson revolver out, and much to my surprise, it is a bucket of rust. And the gun is not really in good enough shape to even be shooting. I opened the cylinder up, I looked down the barrel, and the barrel is full of rust. The gun has been made almost completely unusable. Now I could clean it up, scrub the barrel out, oil the parts, scrub the rust off, but this gun is never going to be beautiful again. Say, can that actually happen? Let me tell you a story about that. I had a friend that had a model 629 Smith and Wesson made out of the same steel this gun right here is made out of. 629 Smith and Wesson. It is a 44 Magnum. He had a 4-inch barrel on it, just like this gun right here. And he did exactly what I just said. He left it as his quote-unquote truck gun. He left it underneath the seat, and floorboard got wet, got muddy. Some of it splashed back on it. Left it there for a year. It condensated, high humidity in Arkansas, and a little bit of salt, probably from boots that walked over some snow and stuff, and it trashed that gun. He pulled it out after a year, expecting it to be stainless steel with no rust and very durable. It ruined his gun. It was a rust bucket. It had flakes of rust. The side was pitted. Say, why is that? Well, I'm going to tell you the nasty truth about this. Smith and Wesson stainless steel is very, very high grade, very strong stainless steel, but it has iron. A magnet will stick to it. It has a lot of iron in it for strength, for durability. Stainless steel just means that you've added about 14% or more of chromium in the blend. And a lot of good old boys think because you say stainless steel, they grew up with a stainless steel butter knife that they left out in the yard and played with from the time they were 5 years old until they were 16. Never had a spot of rust on it. They thought stainless steel guns would be the same as mama's butter knife that they threw, used as a screwdriver, built dirt roads with, and left it out in the yard for 10 years, and it never had any rust. Here's the problem. Mama or grandma's butter knife did not have any iron ore blended into the mix. There are literally thousands and thousands of blends that you can make stainless steel alloys out of, and guns often have iron blended in with them for that strength, that ductile, heavy-duty strength of an engine block that iron has. It keeps it where it can handle a lot of pressure and strength, and it makes it very machinable, and it's just good for that. But this gun is not a gun that you want to get salty and leave laying around in the mud and in the dirt, because it will turn into a rust bucket given enough time. Now, let's make a comparison. Put this poor, sad, rusty revolver off to the side, and don't let it fall off and get in the dirt, because it will rust. Now, you pull out the Glock. This Glock has a Tenifer finish. On top of the Tenifer, which is very hard, almost as hard as a diamond, it has a black oxide coating. This gun is relatively rust-free. you can take this gun. I guarantee you can do this because I have done it. You can take this gun right here and throw it underneath your truck seat and shove it up underneath there, get it wet, get it muddy, get a little salt on it. And the only thing you're going to have a problem with if it gets really wet is your ammo is going to be garbage. So you could take that ammo out, shell all the shells out, put in some fresh ammo, wipe the gun down, check the barrel, make sure it don't have any junk inside it, and that gun will shoot. And this gun will not rust. It is almost completely rust-free gun. The only exception is sometimes the steel sights that someone might put on as an aftermarket sight, they could rust. But I guarantee you that lower is not going to rust because it's made out of polymer. Most of the springs inside here are silicone and they're coated with special coatings, and they will also not rust. So if you want to compare these two, which one is more beautiful? Well, by far, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, but that stainless steel and that beautiful rosewood and all that's going to win the beauty contest. But which one is going to tolerate being thrown out in a muddy ditch in the backyard and you lose it because it fell out of the pocket of your jacket on the four-wheeler and you don't find it for a month later? Which one is going to pass that test? This one is going to pass. He's on the top. This one is going to fail and it is going to rust. Can it be put back in service? Yes, you might have to go inside, pull the side cover off. Side cover on these, you got a couple of screws there. That could be all pulled apart, pull the grip off, side cover, go in, put brand new springs, clean everything up good, but you're not going to get rid of the pitting, and it's never going to look beautiful like it does right now. So rust test, I have to give 5 stars to this one, and I don't even say 4.9. I'm going to give this one 5 stars, and the rust test on this one, we're going to give it about a number 2. So it will be rust resistant, but it is not rust proof. So that's the end of that little story. Now, the next question is, which one of these is more durable from the standpoint of some rough treatment, okay? You see the yard there. You see a few ruts out there in the yard. You see some leaves in the yard. And it was really, really muddy. But let's say about 2 days ago when that was pretty muddy and fairly soft, maybe I'm out here driving around my Jeep, and let's say that this one falls out of my pocket on one day riding a four-wheeler and I don't see it and it gets shoved down in the mud, okay? And then I run over this one with my Jeep, run right over the gun. It's fully loaded. It's got the ammo, got the mag in it, and I run over it with a Jeep. And then I back up to try to go a different direction, and I spin a little bit, and it spins a little bit, and it gets kicked out and gets some mud shoved into the parts, into this and that. So I find it about a week later, and I take it and wash it off real good with a pressure washer and put some fresh ammo in it, and it goes bang, and it has no problem at all. Let's say I got even a little bit rougher with it, and I ran over it hard enough and spun the wheels with a Jeep that I caught that little slide stop right there. They call it a slide stop for the Glock. It is also a slide release. That gun is cocked to the rear. Let me try to do this one-handed. And I'm the film crew, so I'm going to go on the edge of the table, rear sight, lock it to the rear. So if that piece is in good shape, it should work. But what if the tread of the Jeep caught that and bent that forward and got it to where it was damaged? Would it affect the gun's operation? Yes, it could get to the point that you fire the gun and it only fires one time, and then the gun racks to the rear and it locks on that every single shot. Now, you don't have a semi-automatic, you have a single shot, almost completely single shot. So what could you do in the field if you ran over your Glock with a Jeep? Could you fix it? Could you fix that problem? Yes. You could take a nail or the point of a .223 ammo and you could push that little pin out right there. You could easily pull that slide stop out of the picture, throw it in the trash can if you couldn't repair it, put the gun back together, and now you do not have a slide stop. Would the gun function? Would it shoot? Yes. It would shoot and go bang, 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 and it would not lock the slide to the rear on the last shot. That's all you'd get. And if you needed a chamber round, you just have to put a full mag in there, cycle the slide by hand, and it's going to chamber around. You wouldn't have to have that device at all. No slide stop, no slide release. You could function the gun, and it would still shoot as a semi-automatic. This is not tied into anything else in the gun other than the function of the slide stop. So if it got damaged, you could throw it in the trash, put your pin back in, gun back together, and this gun is stinking durable. I mean, I'm not going to run over it just to show you that I'm a rich man, but I have seen these go through some very, very severe tests. And one of them is to run over it with a four-wheeler, and they did it in dry gravel, and they ran over it and ran over it and ran over it. First off, the polymer, you're not going to hurt it. It's even got a I think it's got a cross beam in it. Let's double check that. Yeah, see, it's got a cross beam right there that they put in it to make that stiffer so it don't fall apart on you. It's not going to smash flat, and it makes where the mag will still go in it. These things are very tough, very durable. In the mud, when you ran over it with a Jeep, it'd smash it in the mud flat, which would even give it less damage. Now, let's talk about the Revolver. So the Revolvers are simple. They're super, super reliable. Yeah, until you throw one down on the ground and you run over it with a Jeep. Now, if I run over this with a Jeep just like that, now this gun's empty. I've double-checked it. But if I run over it just like that with a Jeep, nice wide, flat, rubbery tire, and I run over it just like that, probably not going to have a whole lot of issues at all. But if this gets turned like that, and I run over it with a Jeep, and I stop and look one way and realize I need to back up, and I get on that gas pedal and I spin, and that rubber tire catches that cylinder right there, and this buries in the mud. Now, this buried in the mud a little bit. Only thing sticking up is this cylinder, and that tire catches that and goes to spin. You're going to break the lock works. The very gears and small mechanisms in there that make that gun cock properly are going to get damaged. And when they do, that gun is going to be taken out of service. Now, see, this has got some small parts. This gun's got over 90 parts on the inside. And that little lock work that is right there, there's a small little piece in there that makes that function. Here's another small piece right there that makes that hold the cylinder in place. If that gets bent, cocked, and knocked out of there, you will no longer be able to time this cylinder properly to line it up with the barrel. That means when you cock this, even if it'll even cock, it may cock to the rear. Once that little tab is gone, this will no longer line up properly and lock. Because when you're cocking this, it puts that tab up in there and goes into this small indentation and holds your timing true so that your cylinder, this is very important, when this gun rotates around and gets ready to shoot, that hole in the cylinder has got to be lined up perfectly with the forcing cone of the barrel. So this gun laid out in the yard, run over with a four-wheeler, spin out one time with a little excessive gas pedal and spin. That starts to spin and it hits that cylinder and puts a little torque on it. You're going to ruin the guts of that Revolver, and it is going to be non-functional. So it will not pass the rust test of a wet, rusty, salty environment left out for a year or underneath your truck seat. It gets muddy and wet underneath there. It's not going to pass that test. It's not going to pass the test of getting run over with a Jeep if you hit that cylinder and push on it. Now, you can run over the barrel. You're probably not going to bend that little short barrel, no problem. You could run over this, and the trigger guard will protect the trigger, no problem. You might break the wooden grip. You could pick it up and wrap some duct tape on it, wrap some straw-type grass or grass-type rope, some of them sizzle ropes or some leather straps, and you could make you a makeshift handle out of that, no problem. Even put some wood on there. But you mess up your clockworks, you're dead meat. That gun is not going to function. This one, run over it with a Jeep. You might damage that. You can throw it away. You still got yourself a gun. You're not going to smash the trigger. You're not going to bend the barrel because it's locked inside a solid steel slide, and that thing is tough. So durability-wise, I'm going to have to put this guy on the top. Durability-wise, I got to give him a 5-star. This one, if you run out with a Jeep, it's going to be dead. It's going to get a 1 star because it's not rated for that kind of abuse. So hopefully you don't run over either one of these guns with your Jeep, four-wheeler, truck, or anything else. But if it should happen, I want this guy right here. This is a true combat pistol. This is a police officer's pistol that's designed to ride in a nice leather holster and stay on his hip for display and only be pulled out when the bad guy shows up, and work through the situation that way 6 times, and that's about it. So I hope that this is informative to you. If you have any comments, we greatly appreciate those. We're not trying to mistreat one of these over the other. If you love your revolver, that's fine. Just realize that you have some limitations. This one also has some limitations because it cannot shoot all kinds of wild, weird bullets that are short, long. They have to be designed for the gun. This one can tolerate ammo that's a little bit wider variety. So thanks for listening. Please tap the like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Over and out for now.